Well folks, it was a disaster at the weekend as North End, of course, keep up the horrendous home record as we lose 4-0 to Norwich City. It was a disaster, and this video is late because I was out over the weekend and could not make the video because I did not have my computer with me because PCs are not fucking portable. Anyways, apologies if I sound a bit shit, I am rough. It's what supporting this very confusing club does to you. Anyways, as per usual, the first and second half breakdown, and then we'll talk about the match stats. So, the first half had us off a million miles an hour, and as I've stated before in a few videos, if we don't score in the first 15 minutes of setting off like this, we tend to lose badly. And what do you know? We conceded 3 goals in under 20 minutes, which was absolutely disgusting. So the second half had a promising start, but it sadly didn't last very long as we progressively got worse and increasingly frustrated, losing 4-0 in the end. So, the stats. We had 10 shots all game and 2 on target, which is 3 or 4 games in a row now this has happened, and it needs fixing. I don't know where we're going wrong, but something's going wrong. They had 23 shots with only 8 on target, but 23 shots, it shows the levels. They had quite a bit more possession than we had. They of course made the most passes. We had equal cards, 17 fouls for us. Surprisingly no offsides, but we didn't really attack. And 4 corners to their 7. Throughout the match, we didn't really look like we were up for it, in all honesty. It never looked like we were going to go anywhere with this game, and that is mainly why we didn't even score once. But we'll look at the player ratings first, and then we'll talk about the gaffer's reaction, and then I'll give my reactions. So for the starting 11, Woodman was a 4, let down by those in front of him, but kept Pookie out at 3-0, which is fine. But at the same time, he still concedes 4, and you can't put all the blame on those guys in front of him. Definitely a few avoidable goals, but not entirely his fault. Bambo a 4, he played out wide after some steady performances in the heart of defence, never looked comfortable. Story a 4, back in the team after a week out, and he couldn't get to grips. Lindsay a 4, the whole defence was miles off, and he was no exception, made some blocks to limit further damage, but eventually Norwich pecked through him. Hughes a 4, usually reliable, but he looked way off it. Lost the ball in bad areas a couple of occasions. Brown a 4. His role in the day was confusing, and the captain couldn't get us going. Ledson a 4. I'm going to talk about Brown in a moment. Ledson 4. Started aggressively, put some good tackles in, but yeah, little influence. McCann a 5, taken off after half an hour. And the pitch was getting completely overrun despite his effort. Johnson a 4, couldn't bring any control to the midfield. Woodburn a 4, midway at the same time as McCann, started the game pressing high. A couple early runs, but in the end he just got absolutely he got played. And then Cannon a 5, a tough result to take on a debut. Settled into the game 10 minutes, and had a couple of chances. Kept working away, a little to avail. Unlucky, which his chance that hit the crossbar. Should be getting more minutes. Should get better with more minutes, yeah. Alvaro 5, I'd personally give him a 4. Brought some positivity, energy to the performance off the bench, helped create some openings. Was spun by Pookie for the 4th. Has to do better. I just thought overall Alvaro weren't with it. Dilapa 6, can agree. Brought in dire circumstance, looked sharp off the bench. Had pace, power, created a good chance for Cannon. Had 1 effort of his own saved. Parrot a 5, a boost to have him back. Game was gone by the time he entered the pitch. Brady a 5, another good play to have back more minutes off the bench, but a dreadful stage of the game. Yeah, it's about right. By the time some of these later lads came on, it were too late, and then the lads that did come on earlier did well. Delap did well, Fernandez did fine, I suppose, but everyone else was abysmal. And in terms of Alan Brown, there's zero leadership on that pitch. As a captain, it's your responsibility to command your team, to get them going, you know, to help them improve their game. But Brown just does not utter a word on that pitch. I see Ledson in the middle on a reset. You know, like when you clap your hands, you're like, come on, let's go, let's keep it going. Ledson looked like he wanted to get in. Everyone else looks at him like, what you want about you, mate? It's too late. No one had any desire to keep the game going. Obviously, Brown didn't utter a word, and it's also been said in the past in an interview that Brown finds it difficult to criticise his teammates. And if that's the case, then why are you the captain? If you can't tell your teammate what they've done wrong, you shouldn't be the captain. The only time I saw him speak was when he shouted at Bambo after the first goal. And I'm not being funny, it weren't Bambo's fault, it was everybody else's fault. But he's shouting at Bambo like, what, you've lost your man, you need to keep up. And Bambo's got a language barrier, he's got no idea what's going on, he's just trying to follow simple instructions. But he can't because that's not his natural playing field. So that was very poor from Brown in terms of being a captain, and he's always poor as a captain. He should not be a captain. Ever since he's been the captain, he's just been on a slow descent, and it's a massive shame. and the absence of players like Whiteman in this midfield is so fucking obvious. It's really obvious, and I'll talk about Whiteman in the next video on an episode of Transfer Talk.
Did somebody say merchandise?
You heard it here first, folks. We now have merchandise. This is not a drill. I've been working pretty hard to get an Etsy shop set up for the last couple of months now, and I'm finally in a comfortable position to get an Etsy shop done. So as you can see, we've got a lot of Slipknot shit for people that like Slipknot shit, you know, emos and all that, you know, so my kind of people. We've got a couple of Dragon Ball stuff, because I'm a Dragon Ball artist at the end of the day. Right now, of course, it's only limited to these 17 products, you know, the original Slipknot 9, a couple of Dragon Ball things I've done, a few shirts, but this is going to expand in due time, don't you worry. It'd be nice if we can actually get some things going, some things sold, and I will, of course, be taking merch recommendations on Twitter. Be sure to follow me there. And all that good stuff. So yeah, please check out the link in the description. It will mean the world to me. It would help to support me, and we can get this channel growing even more than we already have done. Of course, being a Preston fan channel, this does mean there will be PNE merch on this shop eventually, whether that be t-shirts, posters, hats, keychains, boxes, fucking sliders for your feet, whatever that may be. There will be some form of PNE merch on there very soon, and the shop is going to be updated almost weekly. So be sure to keep an eye out on that. Thank you all once more. If you have any concerns, any whatever else like that, please be sure to contact me. Link in the description. Get it all clicked. Please, it would mean the world. And thank you. I will let the video roll on. But anyways, Ryan Lowe's reaction on the performance. I'll have to look at it tonight, but off the top of my head, I'm very disappointed. First off, obviously killed the game, and you find yourself 3 goals down. There was probably some good play from them and good finishing, but it was very sloppy and unacceptable from us. When you play teams like that, they have the quality to finish you off, and that's what they did. They did take the game away from us early. Early goals kill you off. What they did today was score goals, and we didn't. Well, yes. But listen, there are no excuses for that performance. I didn't see it coming. We fancied ourselves and changed shape to be more solid and resolute, but it looked the other way. Now I'm going to pause because I think that's bullshit. We change the way we set up at home every single game. We don't play the same way as we do away. Every game at home, we don't play the same. We always change. What is the need? Ledson said it in an interview not long ago. We set up differently at home because the teams that are coming are going to perform and act differently. No, they're not. Why is that the assumption? I can guarantee you, if we played the same way we did away and we had the same strategies, the same tactics, we wouldn't be losing this badly at home. We'd pick up a few more wins. I don't know why we feel it's necessary to set up differently at home, but it's clearly costing us a lot of points. Anyways, so sometimes you can't win when you're changing. We ultimately had to pay Norwich the respect they deserve because they have some good players, but we didn't do ourselves justice in terms of performances. I can be outclassed by quality players. I just can't be outclassed by running and fighting and having a really gutsy display and the determination. We had that in the Stoke game and the Huddersfield game. Today we didn't show that. We'll debrief it Monday. We've said 1 or 2 things which will stay in house, and we'll debrief the game with a bit of openness and honesty. You need a bit of what's that, like autocratic leadership. You need to be grabbing these lads by the ear and giving them a slap. You need to be raising your voice. You need to be saying that was awful. You know, you need to be addressing these points. You can't be that one teacher that everyone can take the piss out of, because they're never going to say anything that's to criticise anybody that's in the classroom, if that makes sense. As an example, if anyone remembers being in school, I don't know what my audience is. I think it's like 18 to 24 year olds. So if you can remember being in school, you think that you probably know what I mean. But you know, that's what I'm getting at here. It's just not all there. But anyways, I've said to the lads that I want people who are going to fight, wear their hearts on their sleeve and compete. And he also said, obviously, you have to fight to wear this badge. That is what it means. That's what wins you games of football. I've said it loads of times, and you can accept a lack of quality, but not a lack of effort. Second half, they had a little go and rally up, but we lost the game in the first 30 minutes. We can't happen against good teams. And yes, they did have a good goal in the start of the second half, but then again, that just fell. Norwich began time wasting. It began to frustrate us, and it fell apart again. And that's when everything goes wrong. Of course, it goes even worse. It's hard to come back from 3-0, but then it's even harder to come back from 4-0. So that's what I mean. It's gonna defeat these boys, but these boys aren't in there with any determination. They're probably looking at the home form and like, we don't win here. What's the fucking point? I'm here to get my wage and nothing more. Obviously, you can't talk for everyone. It's not going to be everyone, but there's definitely going to be a few players there. For example, DJ is going to be playing it a bit more cautiously than he used to, because he knows at this point, if he gets a bad injury and he leaves North End, where's he going to go? DJ's trying to think of his future career, and that's understandable, but if he shouldn't be making the starting 11 if that's the case. But we don't have a squad, so we have no choice. That's the problem. So next season it's got to be very different. I'd let him go, but I'll make a separate video about the current retention On the back four, we'd already planned what we were going to do for Norwich on Sunday, just gone. Monday, Tuesday was prep, and it was always going to be a back four. Why? With Ben Woodburn as a 10 to match them with a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. I didn't think the shape was the problem. Okay, that's... You can't be saying that you need to bring the lads in there and have a bit of openness and honesty, but not admit to your own mistake. Of course the shape was the fucking problem. Jesus Christ. I thought the defending and pressing and stopping people running through the middle on the pitch and clearing lines was the problem. It wasn't the shape. Yeah, but we don't play this shape. We're not used to this shape, and we're trying to stick players in positions that they don't belong in, so they can't do that. Of course it's the shape. God, my Jesus. Liam Delap only had 1 day with us, and Cannon had 3 extra days, hence why he was chosen to play up top. That's fair. I don't think it was the shape. I think it was the performances which stopped us from doing what we wanted to do. We felt a back four would benefit us if they had a front four. With 2 against our 3, we'd have back penned into a 5. There's obviously reasons for that. I won't bore you with the tactical stuff and whatnot, but it was a case of us not being able to deal with the nice runs in behind and nice little touches from clever players. They have good players. Let's show some respect for that side, but the goals we conceded could have been avoided. Yeah, because you played players out of position in order to try and make a shape that we don't play. You don't need to account for their shape. You need to keep us comfortable in a position that we know we can play, so we can get out there and hit them full force. That's what... You don't need to change shape. You keep it simple, keep it basic, and stop lumping the fucking ball forward. It's pathetic. Why do we hit the ball into the fucking sky? People at the top of the Invincibles pavilion can fucking catch it. It's ridiculous. We need to keep it simple on the floor. We don't do that when we play away, and look at the results. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Stop hitting it high. No one's going to receive it, and if we do receive it, we're probably offside. On the fucking floor, thank you. Right, DRB. He deserves to stay on the pitch, and with Bambo, we wanted him to get us up the pitch rather than Brown staying out there. Why? He warranted being in the team, and then you don't want to be taking him off the pitch. It gives you that little bit of height advantage. You can get up the pitch. I thought he looked a bit tired later on, which is expected because he's not played many minutes. To shuffle it around and get 2 natural 8s and a bit of balance in the team was our main aim, but after that, we could get Brady on the other side and crosses in from different angles. Yeah, but like we say, Bambo has been playing right centre-back, not right wing-back or right-back. That's not what's been going on in the last couple of days. And if you're expecting a player who's normally supposed to keep his man at the back and backtrack only a little bit to then pace all the way up the pitch and get to the top end to the bottom end flawlessly with no problems, you're going to go wrong because Bambo can't run that far for too long. That's why he started getting tired. When he got up the pitch, he was getting bullied. He managed to keep it, and fair play to him. But then eventually Brown had to get up there anyway to help him. So why was Brown not there to begin with? We've been playing Brown in that similar position for a majority of the season now. So why would we just suddenly change that? Don't. Yes, fair enough, Story's back. Yes, Bambo deserves to be there. But that does not mean you need to rotate and change the shape. You account for that. You don't have to start Story. You don't have to start Bambo. They'd love game time. Bambo loves to play. Story loves to play. We all want to play games. But if it's not right, it's not right. It's as simple as that. You don't need to... You don't need to feel sorry for them. Just... Football's football. Get on with it. You know? On the home form, it shouldn't be difficult, should it? But at the moment, you can see that we haven't won a home game for a while in the league. We felt last week we could give us a real kick on. Don't ask me why, but I don't know, to be honest with you. But the fact is, we have to keep riding it out and doing well away from home. No, we've got to keep performing on doing everything we can on a day-to-day basis. It's tough, it's frustrating at the moment, but of course you want to win your own games. There's more of our fans than theirs, but that's not the case. I'll speak about that in a moment. We didn't deserve anything out of the game based on the first half. Second half was a bit better, but you know, we started on the front foot, make changes, 30 odd minutes, which I don't like doing, but you had to. And after you made them changes, we did keep ourselves a bit better, so that's fair enough. I just apologise to Ali and Ben. Sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. They'll get opportunities again, it's not their fault. We had to make changes and change the shape to be quicker, back to winning home games a bit. I can't put my finger on it, but turn it around quickly, because the more games you win at home, the better chance you've got. Yeah, so don't say we're going to ride it out, because you're not going to do that. You're going to fix your shit. You know, like I said, it's it's the shape. The shape today was irrelevant. It was unnecessary. The way we set up at home is not necessary. Lumping the ball forward is not a good idea. We don't, you know, it's not what we need to do. That is not how you win a football game. It's just not. Why are we doing things differently at home? And you can't say we're doing it the same, because we're not. Because we've had a player come out and say that we're not. You know, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable how we can't see this. Yeah, look, I back Law. I love this guy. I'm not going to fucking start slating him because we're doing a bit shit. People are doing that all the time. I'm not one of them. I back my manager. I'm going to support him in the good times and the bad times. But the point is, he deserves some criticism and he needs to hold his hand up because he is doing some things wrong. But aside from that, he's not a terrible manager. It's not the man. I see all over Twitter this morning as well. It pisses me off when I see this. There's people on Twitter saying the manager needs to go. It's the board's fault. It's the manager's fault. The first thing after losing a football game, you can't just jump to blaming the manager and the board. Yeah, the board's not as good as it should be. Yeah, we deserve a bit more. That's fine. But you can't expect an owner who's funding a football club by himself to pump all of his money into us, because then he'll have no money himself to do his other businesses. At the end of the day, he's a businessman, right? He's not a company. He's a businessman. The last thing we want to do is sell the football club to people like the Glazers who are not going to give us a single fucking penny. You know, that's what I mean. At least we have ownership that likes the football club. Sure, he's not minted like we'd like our owner to be, but that's it. You know, people just expect too much. We have to play smart. I think these two new signings, Delap and Cannon, are smart signings. They're going to do well for us. I strongly believe that. And when we do eventually find a way to achieve more financing, then it'll only get better from there. But the response is it's unbelievable, especially on Deepdale. Oh, the fans were fucking awful. When I said there's more of our fans here than theirs, but it's not the case because they don't feel like it. Fair enough, people have the right to leave a game early, but before you leave the game, don't stand there by the tunnel screaming to the manager to go and kill himself, to leave the club. We don't want to see you ever again. Abusing players. No, it's our job and our responsibility to motivate these lads. Yes, we will get frustrated, and if you don't want to play your part, then leave the stadium. If you want to keep playing your part, keep playing your part. Simple as that. People who will stand there and bollock everyone from miles away, it's pointless, it's pathetic, and it's childish. Fuck off and don't come back. People like that are shocking. You are ridiculous. You don't support the club. You're a fucking Premier League plastic, right? End of the day, you support your club through the thick and the thin. You don't point abuse to your players at all. You can be frustrated, but you don't reverse your role. Simple as that. And that's coming from someone who's only fucking new to the sport. Right, Delap and Cannon. They were standout performance for us. Excellent, the pair of them. They had some good chances. They were threatening behind, but we didn't use it enough. I think that's the midfield. Sometimes you've got to manage the game in different ways. Yeah, we want to play football, but there is a time and a place when you need to get the ball at the top of the pitch and create chances. I thought we created some good moments for them, and they created some good chances for themselves. So this is the only positive I will take out of the performance. I wanted that lift, but it wasn't to be. I've just said to the group that we've got to roll their sleeves up, be counted for, and do better next time around. We want to fight, passion, spirit, because if you cannot win with quality, you win with that. And that was showed against Middlesbrough. On missing Evans and Whiteman's leadership, and Potsy as well. Yeah, Potsy's, I think he's got that character to him. Evans definitely does, and so does Whiteman. They will bring that to the team. Listen, I hope I'm right in saying that this is a one-off. We came up against a good team, we've gotten a good manager, and there's a buzz around the place. Norwich shouldn't be where they are. The place should be in the top 3 if you ask me, and that's fair. For whatever reason they aren't, but they've got the quality players who can get them there. There's no disgrace for getting beat off a good team, but it's how you get beat, and I can understand that. That's fine. At least that's something that's sensical that he's just uttered out of his mouth. But at the same time, I disagree with a lot of what he's just said, and I've explained my reason why. Anyways, for my points to make, the new lads looked alright. We was utterly poor performance with bad subs. We wasn't any better with the constant booing and abuse towards our lads and coaches. I understand the frustration, but it doesn't help anything. Incredibly toxic atmosphere and half empty at half time. So for the pros and cons that I picked out, of course the pros were the new lads looking alright. The cons was the worst performance so far. The home form is continually shit. There's awful fan behaviour, and also 2 shots on target. Once again, it's consistent, and it's consistently bad. But what I said before about the fans, that's the worst takeaway from me from this game. Don't get me wrong, I hate losing, I don't want to lose, and especially losing in this manner, it's not acceptable. But the way that some fans go about it, you know, like I said, shouting all that abuse, death threats, which, fair enough, they might not hear it, but it's not the point. The fact that you're even doing that in the first place to your team, it was the most toxic I've ever seen a football ground. You know, it was disgusting. We're littering on our own pitch to the point where you can count how many fucking crisp packets are on the pitch and do a dot-to-dot with them. We're littering on our own pitch. Do you know how stupid that is to say? Yeah, fair enough, we'll go to an away game like Blackburn last season, we'll go and we'll smash up a few lights around the stadium. That's expected. But you don't do that to your own stadium, you know, just get up and leave. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine, get up and leave. Fair enough, you've paid money to come watch this game, you have the right to voice your opinion. But for the love of God, keep it sensible, you know. Just keep it sensible. And these are people. Some of them aren't trying, that's understandable. There are select names that I would not like to see on the football pitch. But at the end of the day, they're people. They're your team. Get over it. We can't snap our fingers and magic out £500 million and 6 top quality Premier League players. We can't do it. It's not a thing that we can do. And if you actually watched Preston North End and not Manchester United or Chelsea, Man City, then you'd know that, right? There's too many people that come to Preston North End games that don't even support Preston North End, and it's a shambles. And the occasion was a shambles, the performance was a shambles, everything was a shambles, and I don't want to talk about it any longer. But what I will say is that we've got a transfer talk episode coming out soon because there's some issues I need to address, and I would also consider making a video regarding the current players we have and who I want to see gone at the end of the season, but I might save that for next month, we'll see. I'll do that after January. But yeah, thank you all for watching in. I'm sorry about the little rant, but it just had to be said. There's still going to be people watching this that'll be salty from the performance and will disagree with what I've just said. And people disagreed with me all over Twitter the other night when I was saying it. But end of the day, if you want to voice your opinion, I'm going to voice my opinion. We might not agree with each other, but at least in my head, I'm thinking morally and responsibly, not being a dickhead. Because I don't believe in being a dickhead. That's just not who I am. It's far from my personality, and it never will be. I'm going to stay for the full 90 plus minutes and back these lads until the end. They didn't deserve the applause at the end, but you give them anyway, because at the end of the day, these people are trying. This is your club, and we want them to get back out there in the next game and do us proud, not disappoint us again. So let's motivate these lads instead of fucking, threatening to rip them to pieces, because it's not what we should be doing. But anyways, I'm signing off. Thanks for Tone once more. Sorry it's late. The Birmingham video is probably going to be late as well, but I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll do my best. But thank you all for watching, and I shall see you pretty soon.